Back in 2022, Street Fighter VI announced that they were going to recast Ken's voice actor, Reuben Langdon. Now, they never gave a reason why, but people speculated, well, maybe it's because of his political tweets, which really was just a couple of opinions that he had. Now, here's the thing. If you're a celebrity or voice actor or whatever, you're in the entertainment industry and you have any kind of left-wing view, you are allowed to say that as much as you want. You can even pull a Pedro Pascal and say that you want to put people in wood chippers or whatever. Does not matter. You can say anything you want, basically. But if you even say one thing that has a whiff of any kind of sometimes neutral or even slightly right-leaning commentary, you are going to have a mob come after you to get you canned. And that's exactly what happened to Reuben Langdon. So he put out some tweets. He also went on a podcast with me one time and Hero Hey on a channel called Toy Bounty Hunters. We talked about all kinds of stuff. I don't remember everything. This was years ago. We talked about UFOs, all kinds of things. It was a fun time from what I remember. I thought it was cool that he came on. But apparently, that had something to do with it too. And he's come out and confirmed this recently. Ken Masters' voice actor, Reuben Langdon, says he was recast over politics. Keep in mind, Capcom is a Japanese company. The director that fired him was Japanese. And we're going to get into it. But this is part of the reasoning why I've been, among other people, so worried about what's going on in Japan. It's pretty clear to me that the Japanese industry is starting to become cucked when it comes to video games, and they're getting there in anime as well, which is a huge concern. I wish that these people would just ignore Western media, but it's confirmed in here, at least by Reuben, that the director of Street Fighter VI was worried about Western mobs and Newsweek because the hit piece came from Newsweek. Now, there is a nice side of this. He was not fired from Devil May Cry, as you know. Well, some of you may know. He's the voice of Dante. He was invited back because they actually looked into this and saw that it was a bunch of bullshit. But Newsweek took him out of context and smeared him. And because of that, he got fired from Street Fighter VI. And he voiced Ken for a while. He voiced Ken in Smash Brothers as well. So, yeah, this was bullshit. I remember when this happened, and now it's being confirmed. So, well, at least on his side, and I tend to believe him. I don't know why he would lie. I think Reuben's a good dude. I've talked to him on that podcast. I really have not interacted with him any other time since that one time. So, don't get it. Don't hold it against him. It's not like we're best friends. I don't have anything against. In fact, I like him. But people out there like to run with shit and act like me and him are like drinking buddies. Not to say I wouldn't have a drink with him. I definitely would. But they try to make it sound like, if you just talk to somebody, they're sharing every value, which is not true. So to recap, 3 years ago, articles from Newsweek and other commentary on Langdon's personal beliefs were taken out of context, which he has now confirmed led to him being dropped as the voice of Ken Masters. Reuben previously appeared on a podcast with YouTubers Hero Hey and YellowFlash, where they discussed a number of hot issues, including, well, you could see him right there. We did talk about Vic a little bit, but it wasn't the dominant part of the conversation. Like, talked about all kinds of stuff that was going on at the time. It was a very political year, 2022. Langdon was asked for an interview by Newsweek to clarify his statements, to which he agreed, But when he said he couldn't comment on the Mignogna situation, an article later came out that lambasted him as a right-wing extremist. Previously, Langdon was the voice of Ken Masters in Street Fighter, a couple of Street Fighters, I think, actually, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The Newsweek article came out and was basically taking things that I had said in the interview out of context or with no context, and just saying Reuben said this and this about BLM and Me Too, and that I'm a right-wing extremist, and that I'm a UFO alien believer, crazy nutcase, the actor said. He does talk about UFOs and aliens and stuff, and it's like, so what? You're not allowed to talk about that or speculate on it? I mean, the government researches this shit. Why is that a big deal? What is wrong with that? Why can't we talk about that? Just be talking about that shouldn't make you some kind of crazy nutcase, okay? A lot of people talk about this stuff. In fact, there's a lot of fun conversations to be had over those kinds of subjects, especially UFOs. But, yeah, they went after him like crazy. And what's crazy about this is the Street Fighter director, or at least the series producer, he comes off as quite a piece of shit in this. So after this, people went on to contact Capcom regarding the negative and out-of-context reporting that was done on Langdon, which allegedly promoted the developer to recast Ken Masters. So these quotes are from him. This is a quote. Some people wrote Capcom, particularly Street Fighter series producer Yoshinori Ono-san. Langdon said, he saw it and said, I guess he lost his shit. He didn't understand the nuances and didn't bother to reach out to ask me what the hell is going on. He got super scared and actually called. I remember this very clearly because this was a few days before E3 stated. My partner calls me and goes, Reuben, what the F did you do? And I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't do anything. Another quote here. You don't realize how much damage you've done. You've just lost us the Street Fighter gig. He said, because of that Newsweek article, we, the company, Just Cause Productions, that I was no longer a part of, actually lost a multi-million-dollar gig because Ono, in a sense, thought that I was still part of the company, which I wasn't, didn't do any research, any homework, didn't look into it, or even bother to have a conversation. And he goes on to say, I tried to arrange a meeting so I could sit down with him and explain what happened, but this was all taken out of context. This was not the case. It was a hit piece from this Newsweek guy, but Ono-san said he wouldn't have it. He wouldn't take a meeting. It was crazy. That's really messed up. So this dude just went off this Newsweek article, didn't do any research, didn't look into it, fired him instantly. That's Western thinking. Or he was so afraid of the Western mob that he didn't want to give this guy a chance. That's screwed up. That is really messed up. And it's sad. Worked for this guy for years, multiple Street Fighters. And he just cast him aside because of a Newsweek hit piece. Which, I mean, it's friggin' Newsweek. But that's all it took. Now, in today's day and age, these people have lost a little bit of that power. Not any outlet can come out and just cancel people. But back in 2022, that was a real thing. You could get people just canned instantly. One negative article would have that kind of power. It was wild. It was a wild west of a time politically. Things have actually started to improve a little bit. Things actually, yeah, I think are a little bit better now. People don't get canned so quickly. But back then, it really was a real thing. And to me, this kind of still, like, this leads a little confirmation to just how wild things are getting over in Japan as well. But there is one nice thing about this. The Devil May Cry team didn't fire him. They actually brought him back for a Devil May Cry 5 special edition and wanted him to do some stuff for it. And they asked him, how come you guys didn't flip out over that Newsweek article? And they were like, yeah, we looked into it. It was fine. They thought it was bullshit. So couple things. So I guess Capcom leaves it up to the people that are making these games, and some of them go different directions. So thankfully, the Devil May Cry people didn't like just believe a bunch of shit, but the Street Fighter guy is a complete moron. This makes me like, I was thinking about starting to play Street Fighter. That's not happening now. I think I'll stay away from that and just stick with Tekken. But what a sad thing, because this guy, he's a good dude. I've only interacted with him a little bit, but everything I've seen from him, like, Reuben's a good dude, doesn't drop people over bullshit. Like, I remember when all that went down with Vic, he didn't drop Vic. He stayed his friend and supported him. You don't meet people like that too much. And I think it shows some character on his part. So it's nice that it worked out for him, at least with the Devil May Cry stuff. But I would imagine he probably still has some stigma attached to him because of this shit. And it's very sad. I don't think he deserves it. But this just lends more more to the Capcom side of me. Like, I don't want... I despite the Devil May Cry stuff, there's enough coming out of that company right now to make me really second-guess buying things from them at this point. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. I'd like to hear from you in the comments. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.